Okay, well, let's dive into really quick here some Wheel of Time season 2 news, my friend.
Hmm.
So, Wheel of Time was the biggest new series in the United States last year. So, Wheel of Time was the most demanded show at 43.2 times more in its first 30 days than the average in a US of any US show, including shows like Netflix Arcane and Disney Plus's The Book of Boba Fett. So, Wheel of Time was a very successful show for Amazon. So, I mean, they've already greenlit it till season 3. So, hopefully, again, looking some of that fan criticism, I was actually pretty excited here and pretty shocked, actually, I should say. So these are the other 9 shows. I guess these were the top 10 most demanded shows
Hmm.
in their first sort of 30 days. And I don't know exactly what qualifies as an average because they don't necessarily say that. So number 10 was Shadow and Bone at 26.9 times more in demand than in another average series. I didn't watch that, but my mom did, and my mom has never read books and like fantasy books in her life, and literally loved the show so much that she's like, I have to go read the books. So,
Nice. Yeah.
and I know our good friend Jimmy, Sir Jimmy Fantasy Network, shout out to
Yep.
him. He said he watched it, he liked it. Um, Number 9 was Chucky. I'll never watch that because I don't watch scary things.
Yeah.
Number 8 was Squid Game, which actually,
Wow.
if you asked me and you gave me a list, I would say that Squid Game would have been the biggest show of last year.
Yeah, me too. I would have thought that as well. Because it
I
was
would have, because it was massive when it hit.
massive.
Kind of had
Yeah.
that Tiger King stuff. I love Squid
Right.
Game, man. I can't wait for season 2 of that.
Yeah.
That might be the most messed up thing I've ever seen in my life.
Episode 1 blew me. That I was like, I told Lottie, I was like, I don't know if you can watch this. This is, I don't know.
Number 7 was Loki, which I liked. I think it was my second favorite of the Marvel stuff. Number 6 was Falcon Winter Soldier, which was my least favorite
Yeah.
of
I
the
didn't
the
finish it.
Mar- the, Mar- the Marvel stuff. Number 5 was WandaVision, which was my most favorite of the of the Marvel stuff. Number 4 was Hawkeye, which
Okay.
Hawkeye's it's like my middle one. Number 3, Book of Boba Fett. Now, again, to be fair, they are only counting, I
The
guess,
first
what would
episode.
have to be the first episode,
Yeah.
because I would say now the Book of Boba Fett is probably eclipsed those numbers.
Yeah. I'm
And if
good.
you guys want more Book of Boba Fett coverage, come check out Az and I's Star Wars podcast, Hyperspace Hangout, where we're gearing up for that last episode. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Number 2, Arcane, which is a League of Legends show.
Hmm. Hmm.
And Wheel of Time, and so this was 42.7 more demanded than any other than like an average show, and Wheel of Time just beat it at 43.2. So Wheel of Time
Wow.
was the number 1 most demanded streaming show last year
Wow. That is,
of new
yeah, new.
series.
Sure. Sure. Right.
So I don't
Didn't include The
I can't
Witcher in there, and yeah.
doesn't include The Witcher or whatever else. Now, I
Right.
would have to say that this coming year, I cannot imagine Wheel of Time. I think Wheel of Time will have good numbers,
Yeah.
but I cannot imagine any show for a new series topping Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That'll be
Lord of
crazy.
the Rings, I will
Well,
probably be I'm
what
gonna be honest, Lord of the Rings might be the number 1 streaming show this coming year, and that includes Obi-Wan, perhaps Stranger Things season 4,
and
The
House of the Dragon.
Witcher. Well, never
I was gonna
mind.
ask you. I was about to
Never
say,
mind. I
'cause
forget.
yeah,
I
if
get, yeah, because that is technically, yes, that would qualify as a
like
new
1 and 2,
series.
you could go either way on, like, you just
It's
watch,
gonna
wait
be
and
that in
see.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, period. I think they're gonna be 1 and 2, period.
Right. Yeah, me too.
No, but I think House of the Dragon will be the number 1 show
Yeah. That will be
and
so
number 1 new
fascinating.
streaming show.
Yeah, well, and actually, really, they've, yeah, well, we talk about all the time, but, like, Game of Thrones, the wave that had, and then also just the House of the Dragon. It's TV. It's already proven itself. It's still in the same hands. This is different. Lord of the Rings is now in Amazon's hands. What was, it was a new line before. So,
Right.
I mean,
Mandalorian season 3 is gonna be big too. So
yeah.
There's that. So on to another piece of Wheel of Time news. So this comes from cbr.com, which I think is one of those sort of potential clickbait sites, like Screen Rant,
Mhm.
that just sort of report things. They don't necessarily, but it does seem like more and more people are sort of reporting it. So this is saying that Screen Silver Tours recently added a castle in Prague to its Wheel of Time tour, identifying the sprawling estate as the real world stand-in for a royal palace. And all eyes are pointing to this being Camelyn.
Okay. In
Going to
Prague, you
Camelyn
said.
next season. Yes. Well, that's where
Yeah.
they film almost that all. It's all almost all filmed over there in the Czech
Yeah.
Republic, Prague.
I wonder what the actual, do they have the location? They don't have the do they have the castle or the
The
location
castle?
there?
Yes, they do. I will pull it up
Do they
here.
really? Okay, that'd be kinda cool. No, this
I
is cool.
I
This
I
is good
can't
news.
pronounce it, because I do not speak
That's alright, that's fine.
Czech or
Right, right.
Prague or whatever. But yes, let me get it pulled up here while we dive
That is
into
cool.
why
Lottie and
we
I's,
think.
photographer was actually from Prague, so that's pretty cool. Maybe I have a source. I'll have to hit her up and see what's going on down there. What did she see? But this is really cool that we have, Camelyn, you know? I think
Mhm.
oh gosh, I was following some of the Madeline Madden has been posting a lot with oh, that looks cool.
And we don't know that they're, and just because it doesn't mean that we're gonna, the outside of it could be CG, but they could use the inside of this for rooms so that we're gonna see in the show. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, or the grounds, and they're gonna have sets built and all of these things. Because that does not seem very Camelyn to me, just in my sort of mind. But
Mhm.
at the same, that's where they're filming. So
Yeah, yeah. No, that's cool. I like that a lot, and, yeah, I think that's really, really neat. I was trying to pull up some of the actors here. They've been posting some images, and the girl that is cast as Elaine has been in all of them, which is really cool. So, um, that's been neat to see them kinda bonding. We even saw the new, fellow who's cast as Matt has been there with them. So if you follow their social medias, uh yeah, it's fantastic, you know. So Madeline
yeah,
underscore Madden is the actress that plays Egwene, and she
right.
actually posts quite a bit of their
This
behind the
room,
scenes
this
cast.
room, I could see you get all this stuff out of there. You put a throne in there, and
Yeah, that's cool.
So now let's dive into and then we will dive back into the reread or the through here. Some season 2 theories. As
Yeah.
if we are, now that we potentially know that we are going to be filming things in Camelyn, what does that say about season 2? Will we, because you and I had been theorizing that we would meet Elaine in the tower, but perhaps we could be meeting Elaine in Camelyn and going back to Camelyn first.
Well, now this is interesting because see what in the eye of the world, Rand meets Elaine there first. Okay. It's actually something people brought up. You know, there was an issue in season one. Moraine has yet to meet Tom, I believe, has not met Tom Maryland. And there's, spoilers ahead here. There's a big connection between those two. And their meeting is important in the eye of the world. Rand meeting Elaine and Camelyn is a big deal. He meets Gawain, he meets Elida, who sees him and has a foretelling. So, and I don't, people had talked about Leandrin being the fill in for Elida. I don't think Leandrin ever came across Rand either. Did she? Did she ever have some
No.
FaceTime with him? I don't think so.
Not in Eye of the World.
Right. And it's what I even mean like in the show. I don't think that Leandrin actress saw Rand or had any FaceTime with Rand, as far
Not
as
that
I
we
know.
saw, but it certainly seemed, I think it's
'Cause
possible.
yeah, it may be because we have the yellow sister going and taking when Matt's getting healed, but it's kept a super big secret. And
Right.
you don't so the red Aja is told about Matt. Where I'm going with this is that if because we're theorizing here, right? If you say to me that Leandrin's supposed to be the fill-in for Elida, well, the whole point there is that Leandrin or Elida, whoever it would be, has a foretelling. Like they see Rand and they actually it stimulates a foretelling. So I guess if we're going to see Elida, it would be important that Rand comes across Elida and that Rand sees Elaine. You know, if Elaine first meets Matt or Tom, or I don't know that Tom would be there, right? So that's gonna be rough because Tom has a crazy history with Camelyn and more gays. But like, how is Elaine introduced to our main group? The way it's done in like, I guess she could show up at the. I mean, she could show up at the tower with the girls, and they could be getting trained, and then Matt is gonna have possibly his battle with Gawain and Galad, and then he will strike off with Tom on a mission, right? Because the Amerlin gives Matt a note to take to Queen Morgaze, to Camelyn. And that's when he goes there and he figures out Lord Gabriel is there and everything. So I guess my theory is that like Matt and I have been wondering, where does Rand go in season two? And instead of chasing the horn to Kyrian, maybe they chase the horn to Camelyn. You know what I mean? Like that, because Kyrian is that big city, but there's no one there really important that you have to that Rand has to meet, I guess. He goes back there and he finds Tom, and it introduces Moraine's kind of city, the history of King Layman, the Aiel War, all that kind of stuff. Some dark friends, the ways, all that kind of whatever. But you can still do all of that. Like you could have Matt, you could have Pot on Fane go to Camelyn. There is still a Waygate there, just like there is in Kyrian,
Yes.
and he can go to wherever it is that he's going to go. If they want to go to Tolman Head, to Falma, they could do that, But so that's I guess what I'm thinking. I think Camelyn will replace Kyrian. I guess is my big thought or theory prediction.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'm with you on that. And you just got to think about other things too, like well, let me bring up something else too, really quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I believe I have this too. So here's another one of these articles, same website, and it sounds like at some point there was an interview with Rafe Judkins, obviously the showrunner, um, a little bit after the season, and it was talking about relationships, specifically Egwene and Perrin, which sort of happens in the show, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Says, the Wheel of Time showrunner Rafe Judkins briefly confirmed the connection between Egwene and Perrin in season one of the show will likely continue in season two and could inform future relationships on the show. I think you do see in the books this idea that did Perrin have feelings for Egwene? We've milked that a little here. Judkins
Mhm.
told CBR in an exclusive interview. I think it will continue. The showrunner added that while fans have been vocal about not loving the possibility of a romance between the two characters, it was important to him to establish the connection before introducing other storylines. Each of those characters goes on to have very important relationships. Egwene with Gawain, and then Perrin with Fael. He continued, and so those relationships we will also take those. We will also take those as two big relationships that are really foregrounded in the books, and so we'll take them and really run with them too. I think any real romantic relationship that we do have in the foreground, we want to use. So we've
Mm.
yet to meet a Fael or a Gawain, but we could meet a Gawain at Camelyn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think if we're hunting for the horn too, you could throw in Fael. There's speculation that Fael has been cast and that we'll see her in season two here. So if you wanted to, that's an interesting thought that you might
Right.
have Egwene with Perrin be a bit more romantic, but then they come across their lovers in
Hmm.
Camelyn or in season two, which sort of separates the two of them. So maybe out the gate we'll see a stronger sort of tie between them as Rand does his thing and you know wanders.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were saying, I just wanted to pull up the map here too. You were saying some of this stuff, maybe Kyrian gets cut out a little bit.
Right.
I mean, Camelyn's, sort of next door, one less place to film. I
Yeah.
don't think we know that we're not going to, they've said, we can't obviously go to every single place. You and I are already speculating that, a lot of the stuff that happens at the end of
The Great Hunt.
the Great Hunt is going to be happening at Tyr instead of,
Hmm.
God, where's it
Balma.
happen?
Yeah.
Falma, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Falma. Right. And Falma's way over here dealing with the Shan Chan, which obviously we know they're coming, but I just think it's all going to sort of take place in Tyr, Kalendor. That's how you finish maybe season 2, run that parallel sort of Great Hunt, Dragon Reborn in there.
Yeah.
But he did specifically mention when Fail and Gawain. We believe Fail is going to be cast, and I do think it is a good idea to bring her in next season. That way we can move off any of the Perrin and Egwene stuff. Which I get it. I guess you're using that to set up. Maybe you use it somehow to sort of speed along Perrin and Fail.
Yeah. Yeah, what's interesting, either way, wherever they find each other, because it would be interesting if, like Gawain, we could either meet him at Camelyn, or they've already, maybe Elaine and Gawain and Galad are over at the tower, right? They could do it
Right.
either way, and maybe there's that sort of first cracker division, which is like Egwene is kind of into Gawain and Galad, and maybe Perrin's back. They might go with the whole route where the boys are separated again from the girls, and they're doing their own thing, and Rand pretends like he's going to go. Remember in the Great Hunt, he acts like he's peacing out, and then
Right.
she shoves the dragon banner in on him, and he goes on the
Mhm.
hunt for the dagger and the horn.
Right.
So
Well, I think Rand's gonna be way over here. I think they're speeding him along. I think he's gonna do a lot of the Aiel Way stuff by himself. That he does in, like, I don't know, Shadow Rising, right? And then he's gonna bring an army, because in the Dragon Reborn, you don't really see a lot of Rand. He's kind of just wandering, right? His
mhm.
way down. I mean, down to Tyr really is kind of what he's doing. We see him at like little campsites and stuff like that. But I think Rand's probably over here in the Io Waste. He's gonna meet up with some of these people. Who knows, man? Maybe he has a one-on-one with Couladin next season. And it's like we're just speed a lot of that along, and then he brings an army, an Aiel army over um to Tyr, and we do Kalendor. You know what? They could also move that back to like season 3 and have some of the stuff that's like Shadow Rising. Maybe season 2 ends with Rand being pronounced the Kara Karn,
Mm,
and then
wow.
we do like Kalendor stuff, and like
Season 3.
season 3, like the Blow the Horn of Valir season 3.
That I mean, really,
You
yeah.
really could shift some stuff around.
Yeah, and again, we've already seen, I mean, I was still surprised by season 1 being kind of
So close
so close and starting in the Two
to the
Rivers and ending.
framework.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they moved. There's a lot of inner story stuff, but the framework is
Start
sort
and
of
finish
is
was.
start and finish is Eye of the World.
Yeah, because if you tell me right now they're gonna start and finish like the Great Hunt, like start off chasing this thing to Kyrie, and well, it sounds like Camelyn is the location, and Kyrie's not been mentioned. So how do you get the events to match? I guess without Kyrie, and well, all that stuff has to take place in Camelyn, which would mean maybe Rand doesn't go to the waste. Here's my problem with Elaine being cast, and like Elaine is either at Camelyn, we're going to see her there at first, or we're going to see her in the White Tower. But
Right,
Rand, when will Rand meet Elaine? That's, I think, the big
right.
question is, does he meet her at the tower? Does he meet her at Camelyn? Does he meet her at Falma? Does he meet her at Tyr? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a crazy thing because he has to meet her at some
Well,
point.
another character is Matt. Is Matt we saw at the White Tower, CGI, however, had green screen him in, whatever they did there,
Yeah.
whether Barney Harris filmed it and they reused footage, whatever they did there. Um, is Matt gonna wake up at the White Tower and wreck Gawain and Galad like he does in the books?
Right.
And
Which
then on
would
that
mean,
by that mean that Elaine's already there. We could
right.
go back to Camelyn.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because that's why, I mentioned that like Matt's whole arc actually takes him to Camelyn with
Tom.
Tom, yeah, and like they're going to deliver a message and all that kind of stuff, but that's book 3. So,
Right.
book 2 is just this whole chasing down. So he's not there for the chase, right? So the chase is left. This is where it gets really crazy because Perrin and Matt now are going to have to chase down that horn. The dagger doesn't really matter as much. It's like Matt's been healed as much as possible. Maybe he goes through another full healing in the White Tower or something.
Loyal seems like they
Somebody
could
healed
they
Loyal. Get
Jesus.
him off the ground.
They
I can't believe
they
they put him
might
on the ground. I
they
swear to
might,
God.
they might change the nature of the dagger. I'm almost starting to believe they already did change the nature of the dagger to be you using it. There's a darkness attached to the user of it, not so much a darkness attached to kill, like attacking someone with it.
Sure.
So maybe
Yeah.
you could change it to like it's supposed to make you more powerful, but doesn't make the dagger itself
Yeah.
less or more powerful.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That would be yeah,
That
because
would that would be one way to explain Loyal getting attacked by it.
right, right. Because yeah, you already have, like, I think it's interesting also to speculate, like, where's Pot on Fane going? All of these can be things we'll probably pull out later and do special little fuller, detailed things. Because Pot on Fane, he has the horn. Like, is he gonna take it back to the 2 rivers, and that leads Perrin there to the 2 rivers, and you kinda blend his whole going back there and fighting him? I mean, or is it like
Right.
does he have to go to Falma first? Like, he will lead them somewhere. Pot on Fane will either lead them to Tomon Head, he'll lead them to Tyr, or he'll lead them to the 2 rivers or something, right? Like, those are we gotta figure out where we wanna finish in season 2. I mean, Rafe already
Right.
knows, but we're trying to theorize and speculate as to where it's gonna, you know,
Where it's gonna go.
climax.
So,
Yeah.
and there's gonna be plenty and plenty and plenty of speculation and stuff of season 2 and how they're all gonna do it. But as this is we're gonna dive back.